Many of you have been following along on this journey of my move from New York to Morocco, and you have asked some really thoughtful questions about this journey and how it's all coming together. And so I thought rather than answer them sporadically in my videos, I would sit down and just do a video where I can answer the top 5 questions that I've been asked. Some of them have surprised me. So let's get into it. Hi, everyone. My name is Kalima Fergus Ayele. I am the CEO and founder of Round Trip Ticket Home, where we support schools and school leadership teams in using design thinking tools in order to build cultures of connection and belonging. I am also an international school leader. And so in this conversation, I'm talking about my move from my hometown in the United States, which is New York, to Morocco, where I will be living in Casablanca. And I am going to Morocco to be working at a school, be the high school vice principal. I just wanted to share some answers to questions that I've gotten about this process. Question number 1, I get asked, why Morocco? So let me start by saying that for those of you who are new to international teaching or international education, there are many, many American schools in different countries around the world. A lot of times those schools were started initially maybe in the 60s or even 50s because of foreign service, because of so many United States diplomats living in other countries that needed schools for their children to attend. And so the US State Department created this opportunity, or at least I should say, had a department that supported American schools everywhere in the world. They would be supported in basically providing an education to families that met the standard that families would receive if they were here in the United States. Because there is the history of colonialization in many parts of the world, you have some families who really do value Western style education, whether it be British, whether it be American. Now we have what is known as the International Baccalaureate Program. And so there are multiple diploma offerings at these schools, up to families to decide what they want, what kind of future and outcome they might want out of this type of education. These are private schools. And so like you would have in most private schools, not everyone has access, right? So there is a financial barrier of entry. And so most of these schools serve more of the wealthier families, more of the wealthier local families, in addition to families who are coming in and working internationally, whether it be as diplomats serving in their respective embassies or multinational corporations. An educator who is applying to work at these schools, it's important to understand that you might not be able to select the country. You might have to be open to wherever they have vacancies that align with your experience and qualifications. And so what that means for me is when I started the recruiting, I was open, I casted a wide net. At the time when I got the offer from Morocco, I was in a search in Japan, Uzbekistan, Qatar, Nigeria, and Morocco. I'm sharing that to let you know how open I was initially, but I have to share that I was excited to be back in Africa and excited to be in Morocco in particular because of not only what I've heard from others about living in Morocco, but also my own experience having visited as a tourist some years ago. The second question I get is, aren't you scared? You know, it makes me think of this idea of the difference between fear and excitement is the breath. And so our nervous systems may actually interpret fear and excitement the same way. And so the answer is yes. I'm scared and I'm also excited. So I call it scared-sighted, which means that there's this natural feeling of uncertainty because I don't know what my experience is going to look like. There is going to be so many changes that I'll have to adapt to. And so I know that comes with the territory, but I should share that I have worked internationally before, first as a Peace Corps volunteer in Tanzania, but then later I worked at international schools in South Africa, Lesotho, and in Egypt. So this is not my first time doing this experience. This is not my first time embarking on this experience, although this time I am going solo without my children. So that is the difference in this case. And so one of the things that it just reminds me of is courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is often taking action in spite of fear. So that's something that I hold on to. The next question is, how much does it cost? I actually covered this in the last, I have two videos actually where I talked about a breakdown of the cost of this experience of me moving to Morocco. And so if you're curious about all the details, please go back and look at those videos previous to this one. Should be pretty easy to find, where I break down over two videos the total cost. But I'm estimating roughly that the actual cost of me moving, which is just moving and storage of my things, getting to the airport, paying for excess baggage, and getting some of my documents, fingerprint, background check done at about $2,000. Okay, so that does not include airfare because airfare is being covered by my employer. And that does not include my accommodations, which are also being provided. One of the benefits of being an international educator is that in many cases, your package also includes either accommodations or it includes a stipend to pay for accommodation. So that's one of the perks. Another question, what will I miss the most? Well, I live in New York, so most of the things that I missed are things that are in New York, my friends and family, people that I love, the communities that I've become a part of, namely my church in Harlem that I have attended regularly for over the past decade or so. Some of the things that I do socially in New York, including going out dancing or experiencing live music, particularly in the summer when there are tons of free concerts in the park. Those are the things that I'll miss a lot of times. It's just because those are things that are familiar. Those are the places that I would go regularly. And then the last question, which is one that I am excited to answer, because the question is, what am I most excited about? And so again, I also have to embrace the fact that I won't know everything about my experience before I arrive, but I have had the opportunity to connect with other people who have lived or are living there, and pretty consistently they all talk about, rave about the friendliness of Moroccan people. I'm excited. I'm excited to be around people who are kind, who are open-hearted, who are generous. Not to say that we don't have that in the United States. I love American folks. I wish I could take everybody with me. But also I do realize that there are a lot of things going on, especially when it comes to politics and global politics, where it's really caused a level of divisiveness. And in many cases, people have really shut down emotionally. And that's hard. That's hard for me to live in an experience. And I am excited to be in a culture where that is not necessarily the case, where people are genuinely excited to get to know you and meet you and share with you and just be around you, even if they just met you. So I'm excited about that. I am excited about learning more about the culture, about the language, about the history, about the lifestyle. I am generally a very curious person. And so being in a new culture, I find that exciting. I find it interesting. I love knowing and learning about different experiences. That wraps up my answers to these 5 questions. I'm sure there will be more. And what will probably happen is that once I actually arrive in Casablanca, I might be able to do another round, because maybe you guys will have more questions about what my experience is like once I'm actually there. Okay, it's great to have you. Thanks for joining. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.